Scripps Newspapers business reporter Nadia Vanderhoof. Good morning, Nadia.
Good morning, Bob. How are you?
I'm very good. Press Journal, and I guess the other Scripps newspapers as well, they have something starting on Sunday regarding condo conversions. And this is something that I guess has been kind of under the radar here because most of the focus has been on houses and basic condominium sales, but there's some problems here too, right?
Right. For a long time, we focused on single-family home sales, new construction, existing family homes, but we never took a real look at some of the big condo conversions that occurred during the boom. And we took a look at those and found out that some of these former apartment complexes that were converted are really struggling and having some financial issues. Particularly because developers have either walked away from their investments and also people that purchased their units at the height of the boom have also walked away and are struggling financially.
Yeah, and then there's a couple of places here in Indian River County that you've been looking at.
Right. We took a look at two, there are 5 complexes overall, but we took a look at a complex in Indian River County called the Pines of Vero Beach, which is now called Shadowbrook. It was purchased in 2006 by a Miami developer by the name of Dana Berman for $9.25 million. It's 164 units. When the conversion occurred, they were going for $130,000 each. And after the Florida Office of Financial Regulation did some digging on this guy, they found out that he took over $192 million from 700 investors, not only here in Florida but nationwide. And eventually this guy gave back the property to the bank, his creditor, and now more than half of the units at this apartment complex are empty. A lot of them are in foreclosure. A few of them are being rented, but this is just indicative of what happened to condo conversions, not only here in Vero Beach, but also in St. Lucie, Martin, and South Florida.
Yeah, anything happened to the developer? Is he in any kind of trouble?
He's bankrupt, and no. He's basically not allowed to do any more business. As a real estate developer, but he is not in jail. He had some kind of, agreement that, he would liquidate all his assets, try to give money back to all the people that lost money in his investments, and he's a free man. He is bankrupt, though. He lives in Miami.
Yeah, he may be bankrupt, but I'm sure he's not on food stamps.
No, I doubt it.
Yeah. And this, as you say, that maybe the guy initially his intentions were good. He was just swept up like everybody else.
Right. A lot of folks. At that time, people thought that housing, real estate was a good investment. Prices were going up year over year, 10, 15, 20, 25%, and they thought that it would be a good investment. And since condo conversions were kind of a new trend in real estate, and it was relatively easy to get in because it wasn't at a price point where units were selling for $300,000, $400,000 like single-family homes. They were coming in at $180,000, $190,000, $200,000. So people really thought that I could flip this in 2 years and sell it for maybe $250,000, and that's where the problem is now, because some of these units are being appraised for anywhere from $25,000 to $45,000, and they're actually selling at those prices.
Whoa!
So people that bought during the boom for $250,000, $180,000. Some of these units are now selling for $25,000, $45,000, $39,000, and that's where the people are hurting, because when you invest that much in a real estate investment, and the value is less than half just 2 or 3 years later, something's got to give.
Well, I remember when this wave first started on the condo conversions, and you had folks that maybe had been living in the apartment complex for a while as renters, and all of a sudden this developer comes in and decides he's going to kick everybody out and convert them to condos, but give them the opportunity to purchase a unit, which obviously they couldn't afford.
No, and I think if maybe the units were a little bit more reasonably priced, perhaps those people would have purchased. But at the end of the day, people that did move out of those complexes that couldn't afford it at the time, maybe it was a good deal for them because they're not having to deal with a unit that might never see any equity in the near future. Some of the experts I've talked to say that these condo conversions, the prices and sales could take a decade before they recover.
A decade?
Yes, a decade.
Boy, if you're a realtor, it's tough to be perky and positive over something like that.
No, it is. But I guess the upside to that is that what I hear is that if you are in the market for one of these condo conversions, now is the time to get in because I don't think prices are going to get any lower than $45,000, $25,000 at some of these units. So if you're in the market for a condo conversion, what I hear is now is the time to buy.
Oh, you hear that for everything. Looking for a single-family home? Now's the time to buy, boy.
That is true.
Interest rates are low. Nobody's giving you any money. Nobody's loaning money. So
that is
what
true.
Good is it? You can get a rate of 4.5%, but it just you can't get it.
Yeah,
it's being offered, but it seems like you can't get it. So
yeah, it's an unfortunate situation, and that's why we took such a hard look into the situation, not only here in Vero Beach, because it's not only unique to this area, but it's also St. Lucie and Martin County, and that's why we're taking a look at it for a couple of days. We have a series of stories running Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. General reaction, what the problem is, how we're going to get out of it, if we're going to get out of it, and what lawmakers and politicians think we should do in the future to avoid a situation like this again.
All right. Well, Nadia, appreciate you being with us this morning, and we'll look for the first in the series come Sunday, in this case, in our case, the Press Journal, and in other Scripps newspapers across the Treasure Coast, too. All right. Well, I know what can you say about something like that, except I'm just glad I didn't buy anything.
Right.
All right. Thanks for being with us, Nadia.
All right, Bob. Well, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You bet. Bye-bye now.
Okay, bye-bye.
Scripps newspaper business reporter Nadia Vanderhoof.